He's playing Monday Night Raw. The worst he recalls. He's gonna find out which one sucked the most balls. The angry
wrestling
nerd is here. Oh, he's making a list and checking it twice. He's gonna go home and eat
tater tots.
The angry
wrestling
nerd is here. He hates
Roman Reigns
that stink. He knows which
boner pills
to break. He just might even hate them all, 'cause he's mad for fucking sake. You better watch out, don't give
Monday Night Raw
a try. You better not play him, he's telling you why. The angry
wrestling
nerd is here.
He was in the back, and Bobby Lashley looked directly into the camera. I was like, it made me so happy. I mean, more than it should have, but I don't know. I saw that, and I'm like, he's looking at me. That's amazing, because you never see that in WWE. You'll see it on NXT sometimes, but you really don't see it in WWE. It's such a simple, stupid thing that, you would think if someone's cutting a promo on whoever, you look into the camera, you direct your promo with them. You don't look off into the distance like you're reading off fucking cue cards. So that was cool.
Why are you so worked up about people not looking into the camera? It's a scripted drama. How many shows like that have character look into the camera? Can have an open mind at least for a week?
But to me, it's fun. It's okay to be silly and have fun every now and then. And this is coming from somebody who many, many times here on this podcast, just to give an example, with WWE, when they'll do stupid, silly shit, the problem with them, and maybe it's not, this was more a problem, in the last few years, maybe not right now at this exact moment, but they were always doing this just bad comedy, goofy, silly bullshit on Raw. But the problem is, first of all, what they were doing wasn't funny. Most of the time it was not funny. And also they were doing so much of it. It's like, am I watching a comedy show or am I watching a wrestling show? Because a wrestling show could have a combination. It could have a little bit of everything. It can have comedy, it can have serious stuff, it can have this, it can have that.
Or maybe you're not the only person who they try to make laugh. What a novel concept. There are millions more people out there they think would laugh at their comedy. Just because you don't think it's funny doesn't mean nobody else does. Santino got the huge run in WWE because he made many people laugh. Apparently the only thing that makes you laugh are Chinese names like Bin, Wang, and Ho Ho Lun, which is incredibly tasteless and discriminatory. Just saying.
Wang. I don't know why that's so funny.
The world doesn't revolve around you, bud.
Raw last Monday was live from Columbus, Ohio. The Insta poll I threw up on Twitter had almost 2,000 votes. 78% thumbs down, 22% thumbs up. I want to know who those 22% were. I think you and I need to have a chat.
Maybe they really liked Raw. You're the one that says you let other people are entitled to their opinions, which we all know is bullshit. Maybe they did like Raw, and if they did, that's none of your fucking business.
He had new music, apparently, Ryder did. He challenged Rusev to a U.S. title match. I don't know if it's on Raw this Monday or for the pay-per-view, but he threw down the gauntlet. I'm happy for the guy. I'm happy for Zack Ryder. And I think between this, what they're doing with him now, and who knows, the brand split may be very kind to him, but between this and the big win at WrestleMania that he got, this is probably going to end up being his best year yet in WWE, and that's pretty damn impressive for a guy who I thought peaked, 4 or 5 years ago. And not just because he kind of fizzled out, but because the company they just lost interest. They gave him like a little mini push, and it ended very quickly thereafter. He was still over. But as the years have gone on, people kind of see, okay, this guy is slotted here, and this is all he's ever going to be. And all of a sudden, they're doing stuff with him, and I never would have expected it. So if I have one positive thing to say about this, it's that I'm happy for Zack Ryder, but this match sucked.
And he wasn't being treated right, and he was being tortured. Wah wah wah. Different wrestler, same song and dance. They're not treated right, they're not being pushed. Oh, the agony. Nitpicker. Whatever college it was you spent 4 years at, ask them for a refund. Please. Because it doesn't sound like they taught you anything about how companies work. They pushed Ryder. Ryder wasn't selling merchandise. They were left with tons of unsold shirts at their warehouse, and the hype for him was over. How hard is that to understand?
But this was an excellent match, long match too. And part of what I loved about it is this. So many times, whenever WWE does a 2 out of 3 falls match, and they'll do them every now and then, when they do them on the main roster, it's completely pointless. Completely pointless. It is just an excuse for them to do the first fall in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and then the other guy quickly gets a fall, and it just turns into a regular match. And I'm left thinking to myself, what was the point of even doing a 2 out of 3 falls match if you were just going to get to a regular match in the first 5 minutes? Here, it took a good 15 minutes to get that first fall. These guys, they were kicking out. They were not giving an inch. It was more realistic in that if you had a match between these two teams, and they've wrestled before, it's not like in the past they've had 2-minute matches, right? Why all of a sudden would one of them be so willing to give up a fall in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the match? Realistically, it does not make any sense. Here, it made perfect sense. These guys were having a war.
Yeah, well, how many casual viewers would want to sit through a long boring match with multiple pinfalls? I can see why the main roster doesn't do any real 2 out of 3 pinfall matches is because they can be so long and boring to casual viewers. What a fucking baby who thinks every show should be at your standards. Keep an open mind for once.
So, I think that covers all the different bases here. I'm looking at these 2 rosters here that I just laid out. Clearly, I am a Smackdown guy. But again, I did it that way on purpose because I know they want to make SmackDown as strong as possible. They figure Raw's the flagship. Raw's going to always have their base viewers no matter what. We got to make SmackDown strong again. And I know USA wants them to get SmackDown's numbers up, and you've got to justify the expense of going live every week. And in order to do that, you need to load it up with stars. So SmackDown clearly, based on what I laid out here, SmackDown clearly has the advantage. And plus also, it's 2 hours. If you end up with a SmackDown roster that looks even remotely like the one that I just laid out, coupled with the fact that it's now live, which live seems to matter to some people, so it's live, it's 2 hours. Look at the announcers. Look at the difference in announce teams on the show. The better question is, why would anybody watch Raw?
God, are you stupid? You're a SmackDown guy? But isn't it Raw, the show you watch? You are the one that doesn't watch SmackDown every week and says how SmackDown doesn't matter, yet now you wonder why you ever want to watch Raw when you've willingly watched Raw against your will every week for the past several years. You can't be that stupid. I watch both SmackDown and Raw, and if there's any reason to watch them both, it's to watch my favorites and to be entertained by their matches. Unlike you who isn't entertained with anything remotely produced by WWE, which brings up a conflict here. Tell me you're trolling. You cannot be this stupid. Then again, you're 35 years old and you have no clue that many people start sleeping at 10 p.m. to get up by the morning. For that matter, what the fuck is wrong with 3-man announce teams? Monday Night Football has one. Is it such a problem that you hear 3 people talk instead of 2 people? I guess you'll stay away from any TV shows, podcasts or YouTube videos with 3 people talking because it angers you to no end. Get over it.
And number 2, if I see something that bothers me or that I think is nonsense, I'm going to call them out on it. And
I guess what I've been saying about you in these videos isn't true because you haven't called me out of them at all yet, other than the first one I did. Still here.